All right, everybody, welcome back to the best damn training channel on YouTube. Today is going to be an upper body day. It's my second upper body session for the week. First day was kind of focusing on building strength. Today with the bench press is more focused on kind of like a dynamic effort, trying to move the barbell a little bit quicker. We're going to be doing sets of 2 on this with the bands, and we'll be around 65, 70% or so. So the focus really is just kind of get in some more volume with the upper body, specifically trying to get a little bit more powerful with the upper body with the bench press. And then the accessory work is going to be, again, kind of focused on kind of strength accessory with the rep ranges that we're in. So we're going to stay around like a 3 reps in reserve for most of the movements that we do on the accessory side of things. But as we're getting started for today, I want to give you guys a little bit of update on some things that are going to be going on over the course of the next couple months. So first up is I have booked all of my travel for going back to the States. And it doesn't look like Will and I are going to be able to link up. The time that I can make it to Austin ended up being the last week in May and not the first week in June. And Will already told me that last week in May isn't going to be a good week for him to try to get out to Austin. So unfortunately, this time around, Will and I aren't going to be able to link up and meet with each other, but it will happen. And we're going to figure out a time that we can make it work. First place I'm going is going to be Boise, Idaho. I got a wedding that I'm going out to. And I've also linked up already with some of the strength and conditioning coaches at Boise State. And I think I'm going to be able to get in to the Boise State strength and conditioning room over at the university, be able to get a training session in there, hopefully be able to film some stuff for you guys and show off that facility, because honestly, college Division I program facilities are some of the most elite facilities that you will ever have access to. So while I'm there, I'm going to try to get the permission to film, because I know sometimes school with the logos and using their facilities and stuff like that, it's a little bit tricky, but I think I'll be able to sneak in a little bit and be able to film for you guys when I'm at Boise State. And then from Boise, I'm going down to Austin, Texas. I'm going to be there for a week. And obviously linking up with Tim Riley and Zach Zillner. So we're going to do the podcast. We're going to train a bunch. We're going to be at Tim's new gym, which is like the C4 facility, which is a dope ass gym as well. So I'll film some stuff while I'm there. And then I've sent out kind of a broad message to people that are in Austin about doing some training. And Dylan Cooper, who is a weightlifting coach, weightlifting athlete, I think if you follow me, you probably are aware of who this guy is, reached out to me. He's been doing this training series where he's been doing weightlifting sessions with a bunch of athletes from around the US. And I think he's even traveled to the UK and done some of those episodes. He reached out to me and asked if I'd be down to do an episode with him while I'm there. So I'm going to be doing a weightlifting session with Dylan while I'm in Austin as well. We'll be able to film that and get that for you guys on YouTube when I'm out there. So we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to do when we're in Austin with Tim, Zach, and then now doing a session with Dylan. So it'll be cool. I'm really excited about doing this session with Dylan because he is a true weightlifter and I'm not a true weightlifter. Although I'm very, I would say, technically sound in the Olympic lifts, it's really cool to have somebody who is like, that's what they do as a coach and as an athlete, also have eyes on you and to also just train. So we'll do most likely a clean session, just simply because I haven't done snatches in a very long time and I don't plan on programming a lot of snatches from now until the time that I get to Austin. We'll have a bunch of stuff set up there. After Austin, I'm headed to Florida. And while I'm in Florida, I'll be in Tallahassee. And then I'm also going to be in Tampa. And I've got some really cool locations that I can train while I'm in Florida with potentially some really cool coaches, working on scheduling some things out and linking up with the right guys at the right time and seeing if we can't get some dope sessions with some dope people there as well, which I think will be a lot of fun. But that's the travel plans for the next, or coming from end of May, beginning of June, and some stuff that'll end up popping up on the YouTube channel for you guys as well. And then in terms of the program, this is the end of week 9. So I have today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a lower body session. I don't know if I'll be able to film that because I have my daughter with me. So usually when my daughter's with me, I get about 45 minutes in the gym before she's ready to go. So I'm going to come in here, knock out my clean grip deadlifts and front squats, see how much extra work I can get done before she wants to bounce. So we'll see if we can get something filmed tomorrow. If not, I'll definitely get that session for you guys next week because I won't have my daughter. Coming to an end on week 9, going through this kind of peaking phase into a taper. What this week has looked like is the most amount of volume over the course of the next 4 weeks has been taking place in this week. So as you're going through a peaking phase, what generally you would like to do is increase the intensity, but decrease the amount of volume that you're doing. In volume, let's just say total number of sets and reps on everything that you're doing for that week. So this week, I'm gonna be doing, let's say, 6 sets on the bench press. Next week, I'll probably do 4. The week after that, I'll probably do 3. And then we'll go into a taper before we retest everything. So it's been a higher volume week, specifically following a deload, going from like a very low straight up to a high volume. And then we're gonna start breaking that off a little bit as we continue on over the course of the next 3 weeks. Go through that taper, do the final testing for all of the unit combine work. And then the next program I'm going to be going into will be the strictly strength program that I already explained for you guys, where we're going to be focusing on really trying to build up as much strength as we can on the squat, on the clean, on the bench press, on the deadlift, and use that as a way to kind of be a foundation for what my overall goal for 2025 is. And what this overall goal is at some point throughout this year, I want to power clean 200 kilos. And I think the best way to go about it is we'll obviously test the power clean at the end of this program. I'm expecting to be somewhere around 185 to 190, which means I'm going to need to put on 10 kilos on my power clean in order to hit that 200 mark. My best power clean ever is, I think it's 195 that I've done before. So really what I'm looking at doing is trying to increase 5 kilos overall on my lifetime best for a power clean. And I think by doing that strictly strength program and just trying to get as strong as possible is going to be a great foundation before we move into being more specific on building that power clean quality. So it's a good start. I'm also going to be doing a lot of cleans and Olympic variations in that strictly strength program. So there is a good possibility that, let's say I end this program and the taper week goes perfect and I end up going and let's say I hit 190 or even 195. And then I go through a strength phase program, try to add as much weight onto the squat and onto the pull and onto the press as much as I can. That should help translate over with making heavier Olympic lifts feel better, as long as I'm continuing to do the Olympic lifts throughout the entirety of that program, which I'm going to do. Then I think there is a good possibility at the end of that 12 weeks or at some point in time during that 12 weeks, during that program, I should be able to be really close to that 200 number. But if everything goes perfect, at the end of strictly strength, let's say I can hit that 200 kilo power clean, then I'm kind of up in the air about what I want to do after that. I have no specific training goal other than that hitting that 200. If it ends up taking longer than the next 12 weeks after this program is finished, then we're just going to migrate and start focusing on that specifically. But I do think that there is a good percentage chance that I hit the 200 kilo clean prior to finishing that 12-week program. So I want to open it up to you guys. I want to see, what is it that you would like to see me train for? And I don't think like training for a specific sport is going to be a valuable option, because in Iceland, I don't have access to a lot of those sporting endeavors. I don't have the ability to compete in a specific sport very good here, just because there's not a lot of availability to do that. But let's talk like training wise. I've had the idea of going back into a vertical jump program. The problem is I've already hit my head on the ceiling in here doing some jump training, and I've kind of minimized the amount of vertical jump training I'm doing in the gym specifically, and just kind of using my sprints and my jumps out on the track, taking care of that kind of work. I thought about going into more of an Olympic lifting program. I've thought about doing more of like a true powerlifting program and maybe just trying to build up a total and seeing how strong I can get on the squat, bench, and dead, which is kind of plays off of the strictly strength program. But I'm in the air right now about what I'm going to do, let's say come July, come August to the end of the year. So I'm open for suggestions. If you guys want to see something specific, let me know. I'll try to see if I can sprinkle in some ideas and get some new thoughts about where the training should go to when we're looking towards the end of the year. So let's say the last 3 to 4 months of this year. That's a quick update on everything that's going on in terms of training and travel right now. But today we're going to be doing 5 sets or 6 sets of 2 on the banded close grip bench press. I'm going to be at 120 kilos, which is going to be roughly 65% or so. So block 1 of this program, we started at 55 to 60%, and we had kind of like light to moderate bands as we built through those weeks. Block 2, we went 60 to 65%, and we did the same thing, started off with a little bit lighter band tension, increased the band tension as we went through those weeks. Block 3 of this, we're going from 65 to 70%, and we're gonna start off with a little bit heavier than normal with the bands, and we're gonna try to build this up to kind of like really heavy banded sets, probably doing sets of just 1 when we get towards week 3 of this, which is gonna be kind of that last heavy week before we get into that taper. So I'm gonna load the barbell up and we're gonna start knocking off some sets on the banded bench press. Yesterday's session, I went to the track and did a max velocity session and did some flying 10s and then some fly float flies. The goal with the max velo work is introduce those fly float flies to try to get a little bit more exposure and max velocity. So when you do flying 10s, obviously you have your build and then you have 10 meters of max velocity work. When you do your fly float flies, you've got your build and then you've got a max velo section of 10 meters. Then you have your float of 10 meters and then you've got your second max velo section of 10 meters again. So you have a fly, a float, and a fly. What you see when you do some fly float flies is it helps with that ability to remain relaxed in max velocity, which is shown to be very effective way to produce force. When you get to the point where you start tensing up and you're trying to run hard, what ends up happening is you end up putting less force into the ground and you're running slower because everything is too tense. Having an ability to be relaxed in max velocity is a great way to be able to be more efficient in your running, and the more efficient you can be, the better you can apply force. Essentially, the faster you're going to be able to run. So when you do fly, float, fly, and you have to kind of switch those gears, what it's doing is it's teaching you the coordination of max velocity mechanics by going as hard as you can or as close to hard as you can. And then you've got a period where you're kind of just trying to float. You're trying to maintain that momentum through that float phase, but you're not actively trying to run as fast as possible. And then you're trying to kick it up and hit that last 10 meters again as hard as you can, or at least to as close as hard as you can. So by adding in those, you're getting multiple exposures at the max velocity. It's a longer distance that you're running, so there's a little bit of kind of like the speed endurance aspect that you're building up. But for the 40, you don't specifically need speed endurance. But I do like using the fly float flies specifically towards a period where I'm going to be doing a test where I need to be as fast as possible, because you're getting in a little bit more volume. It is a lot of intensity, and you building up that ability to be coordinated and be relaxed and be able to kind of switch those gears through those different sections of the max velo when you're doing that fly float fly. That should allow you to be more relaxed in a way that's going to allow you to run more efficiently, and in a way that's going to allow you to produce more force efficiently, so you could end up being faster. The previous weeks on the program leading up to this week, we did a lot of flying 10s, we did some resisted 10s, and then we took the resistance out, and now we're looking at doing flying 10s and those fly float flies to kind of build that intensity up a little bit, build that quality of being relaxed and being coordinated, feeling good throughout those max velo sessions. And then we'll test the 40 towards the end of that taper week and hopefully drop a heater when it comes to the 40. The numbers that I've been seeing recently, as you guys saw in the video previously, are trending in the right direction. That's all going to come down to, did the peak and the taper time itself out work well enough to where I can hit something that I feel like is a very respectable number. And the goal that I have for the 40-yard dash is anything below a 4.4. So if I can hit a sub 4.4 on the 40 and be able to hit some of the other lifts that I want to do in the gym in terms of the number of reps on the bench press, which is going to be 30 reps at that 102 kilo or the 225 pound range, and then also hit like a 190-ish power clean, be able to do like an 11 plus foot broad jump, then I would be hitting all of the numbers that I think are very reasonable numbers for me and very realistic numbers for me. But then also just kind of shows like the program is a fucking sick ass program and it works. So that's kind of the goal when we're looking for the max velo work now. But this is set number 3 on the bench press. So I'm going to do at least 2 more sets, maybe 3 sets at most, get to that 5 to 6 set range, and then we'll move on to some of the accessory work that we're going to do for today. Next up on the menu is some heavy single arm rows. Do sets of 5 on this. And then we'll probably do 4 or 5 sets on the dumbbell rows. Ooh, this just reminds me, one thing that I will be filming for you guys, because I've been getting a lot of questions about this, is I've decided that I wanted to golf a little bit this summer, because there's not a lot of things to do in a small town of 18,000 people, but golfing is one of them. And there's a new indoor simulator facility. They spent a lot of money making this place very nice. So I've been going there every Monday, and I got addicted to just trying to hit the long ball. Like, I don't care how good I am at golf, but I want to just try to smack 300 plus meters on a long drive. Last week I did 283, which is my longest drive in meters. So that's like 309 yards. And I think it'd be really cool, specifically if you're thinking about this from like a strength and conditioning aspect. I don't do a lot of rotational development, and I don't do specific power development in like a rotational manner. But I think it would be cool to show that if you're training to be strong and you're training to be powerful, it doesn't matter in what way that you're training to be powerful, as long as you're just moving something fast, whether that's heavy loads fast, whether that's sprinting, jumping, it could be throwing, med ball, whatever it might be, that you don't need to get specific of training power in a rotational manner in order to be more powerful in a golf swing. So I think it'd be really cool to show that you could be strong and powerful by training the way that you've seen me train on this channel for the last year and a half now, and be able to go out and just learn a skill and be able to apply the strength and apply the power that you've already developed by just learning the skill. And the skill is what's going to teach you on how to apply that. So it's going to be really fun to be really bad at something, because when I was doing the long drives last week, I'm either slicing it 200 meters to the right, and if I get a hold of it and I hit it straight, then it's 300 yards plus straight down the line. And it's a very humbling experience to know that you have the ability to send this ball to the moon, but not know how to apply that in a way where you can send this ball to the moon. So I'll be doing a little bit more filming on that. It won't be very often. It'll be like a every once in a while type thing, because let's face it, people don't want to see me play golf once a week and be really, really bad at it. The goal that I've set for myself right now is 300 meters, which I believe would be like 330 yards on a long drive. So I got to put 17 meters on my drive, which, like I said, the strength and the power is there. It's just building timing, coordination, and the familiarity with a golf swing to be able to apply that power. So maybe on Monday next week, I'll film that for you. Maybe I'll get that up in a couple weeks, but that's the goal. I'll film at least one of the sessions here in the next coming weeks, and then progressively revisit the golf swing to show you guys kind of how the progression of the long drive challenge is coming, because it's just fun to be bad at something, but have fun being bad at something and just have something to improve on. But I'm gonna do at least 2 more sets on this, and then we're gonna move on to the last part of today's session, which is gonna be weighted dips and weighted pull-ups. All right, before we get into the last thing for today, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. I think we're about 200, maybe 150 subscribers short of 7,000. And then remember, at 7,500 subscribers, I'm gonna be giving away 4 pairs of the Strike Movement trainers through Strike Movement. So we've got a little collaboration set up to get you guys some free shoes. So as we get closer to that, we'll let you guys know how you can enter, and then we'll just be randomly chosen 4 people that will get, I believe, a link to be able to get those shoes for free. You might have to pay shipping on it. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll be able to get 4 pairs of those out for you guys at the 7,500 mark. So if you like what you see and you want the opportunity to get some free stuff, make sure to subscribe. And then if you like the video at all and you feel you're getting any kind of value out of this, then drop the like. And if you want to help the algorithm out, write something nice down below, or write something mean, because they both help out equally. But last thing we're gonna do here is 3 to 4 sets on weighted pull-ups and weighted dips. So I'm doing sets of 6 with 20% body weight, or I'm about 97 kilos and this is 20 kilos. So I'm a little bit above that 20% number, but that's what I'm gonna be trying to aim for, is that 20% for this week. Next week, we'll bump it up to like 25 or 30. And then we're just gonna try to go hard and heavy for probably 2 sets when we're looking at week 3 before we get into our taper. But we'll be doing 3, maybe 4 sets on this. And I've got my janky dip set up right here. And there you have it. 6 reps on the pull-ups, 6 reps on the dips. We're gonna be increasing the amount of load that we're doing on these, and then get ready for some peaking and some tapers before we hit some big numbers on some lifts and some sprints. There you have it. That's gonna be the session for today. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm gonna do my best to try to get some footage for tomorrow and either put that in a video next week to kind of show you what I did for a Saturday session, or try to sneak a video in tomorrow and get the whole thing filmed if I have the time to do that. But we'll see what happens when it comes Monday, Tuesday, when I upload the next video for you guys. But until then, I'll catch you later.